Oh, hello, hello. Sorry about that. Technology is always a little fun. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I am really happy to kind of dive into some things with that are really important to contractors. So, what is that? That's going to be job costing. A lot of times companies are generalizing things, and we're going to kind of dive into what does job costing actually mean and what can you gain from it and the insight that is really helpful for you. Why do you want to listen to me? Well, my name is Jen Shaw, and I am the founder of All Accounting. We really specialize in contractors who are ranging from 500,000 to 10 million in revenue. And we like to help them understand where their finances are, what's going on with the day-to-day world of transactions, because we really feel that if you know your numbers, you can own your future. I like to take these times to just dive into these topics, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to share my screen. And we can get right along. So again, we're talking about mastering job costing and really understanding the nuances that go along with it to help you in your business and have better insight. So, what is job costing? In normal day-to-day accounting, we do a lot of general accounting, and it actually depends on what type of business you have, but there are a lot of businesses that need to break their financials into more granular reporting. And that's kind of what job costing does. Because in general, the information that you receive from the statement is going to tell you if you are overall profitable, but doesn't tell you specifically if this particular job is profitable or if this particular product is profitable. And so in order to do that, there has to be some more tagging and coding in order to get those reports to show what you really want. Because if you don't set it up at the beginning, what you're doing is then going through mass and mass amounts of data to then compile this one financial for this specific job or product or whatever it is. So it's really about going through every item and saying, does this belong to a job? Does this expense go to a job, or is it generally for the business? It also allows you, when we are job costing, to do a better job and understand how estimating works within your business. So we like to utilize this because when we go out to bid a job, we have a grand idea of what it should cost, all the things are involved, how much labor, what the time is, all of the material. And then what may happen in your financials is it all just gets lumped into one. So if we can do job costing and separate all of that out, we can then look at our estimate and look at what's actually happening within job once we've won it and see how does that compare to things. Is it doing well? Is it doing bad? Like, what does it actually look like? I also think that job costing, because it adds more administration work, let's be honest, it's not fit for everyone. You may be a smaller company that is doing under $1 million and your jobs are not as strenuous and not as large to really take on that other administration cost. And in general, maybe they don't last for 6 months to a year. Maybe you are a decker, a deck builder, and you do jobs pretty quickly on a weekend, or it takes 2 weeks. And although that information can be helpful to see how exactly you did on that specific job, it's not as relevant and needed when you are doing much larger scale projects for your company. General accounting is really telling you if you made money, and the job costing is telling you where you actually made that money, so that it's not all lost. Okay, so what are the things that actually go into job costing? We like to tell the big four in these scenarios. So high level, we have direct labor, subcontractors, material and supplies, and overhead allocation. So let's kind of talk about what those actually are. Direct labor. Direct labor is going to be the people that are physically on the job doing the work. They are hanging sheetrock. They are nailing the nails. They are pouring concrete. If you didn't have them, you are not able to perform the work. This is also going to include not just their wages, but payroll taxes that the company has to pay on them, any workers' compensation or workers' insurance that you need to pay on them, any benefits ultimately that relate to that individual. It can get a little hairy when you have multiple projects going on for each, like maybe you have 3 different projects going on at one time, and ensuring that all of the back end information that you're doing is showing up for each specific job. So perhaps Larry, he shows up to work, and on Monday he works an 8-hour job on job A, and on Tuesday he goes to job B, and on Wednesday he goes back to job A. So in order to get the the granular level of all of the labor, you do have to ensure that you have processes or job tracking. Your software is capable of breaking this all down. So that's where I say it can be a little bit administration heavy on doing all of this. Okay, so what's next? Subcontractors. Well, these are also people that are doing work on the job, but you don't have them as W-2 employees. Perhaps they are, or they most likely are just 1099. So they're doing a big piece of the work. Perhaps you have done all of the things on the inside of the home, but they're the roofers. Or perhaps you're just a general contractor and you're hiring each position. You're hiring the roofer, and then you're hiring the plumber and the electrician. So all of these are the subcontractors, and you want to make sure that that information is ready. What gets tricky with them is that their timing may not be as quick and accurate as with your direct labor. With your direct labor, you're paying those people on a weekly basis or on a bi-weekly basis. Most of the time, you're not paying them any longer than that, so you have more real-time data. Where subcontractors, they may ultimately take a little bit longer to get you their invoice. And then ultimately, just like you bidding your job, they may have bid your job to you, and then this pops up and that pops up. So just making sure that everything is kind of tied in a bow with them. Okay, so then we have materials and supplies. You're going to, again, account for all of these specific expenses that go to a job and ensure that they are all tied in. So your raw materials, deliveries, your estimated waste that you have with it. And if you order in bulk, this can be a little tricky, but there's always a percentage or just utilizing some sort of standard amount or process in which you are divvying all of your materials and supplies to a specific job. Sometimes it's really easy to just go ahead and get, oh yes, I have 5 sinks that I'm putting into this home, and so you know what it is, but just ensuring that everything is tracked appropriately. And then our overhead allocation. This one is kind of accounting jargon. I like it, but it's basically taking some of your indirect operational expenses, so your shop, your other administration office help that needs to invoice out or do vendor payments. You're basically taking some of their time, not all of their time, because a lot of what they're doing may be just general business things, and allocating it to that particular job. So perhaps Jane in the office does 5% every week into into specific jobs. And so we will allocate that typically on a monthly basis, but depending on how much you are in your books, you could look at it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Basically, if you're not tracking, if it's not tracked as a job code, it's not costing. You're really just guessing in this whole thing. So we want to avoid that and really get more on that granular level of where things are going. Okay, and then we have beyond construction. Like I mentioned, it can work for other industries, if you're selling a product. It's great for maybe event planners. You can track the venue, rentals and catering, the decor for that specific event, your staffing hours. Maybe it's a custom project business. Maybe there are IT installers, so they have smaller jobs, but they have high volume of what they're doing, and they want to see that granular level of, did this project of what we bid it out and what actually happened, did those numbers work? So it can very much be part of any industry. It is just a matter of what type of data do you want to see, and how much are you willing to spend time or pay someone to make sure that this information is readily available for you. Giving you some tidbits here. Your typical gross project margin for a construction company is going to be between 12 and 27%. What does that mean? So we have net gross profit margin, and we have net profit margin, and we have gross profit margin. So when we do job costing, because it's very direct to what that project is, and we have all of these other expenses that might happen within the business, we call this the gross project margin. So high level invoicing, everything directly related to that. Again, those labor, subcontractors, material, and overhead allocation. We can then see that ultimately we should have a good 12 to 27% gross project margin so that we can cover the rest of the items that are in the business. Regular insurance, equipment purchasing, paying yourself as the owner, and all those different things. So and each company, like an electrician is going to have slightly different than a roofer, and each one is just whatever you have created within your business, that's going to be your normal. But it is important to kind of know what that number may be. Maybe yours is 17%. So when you do your job costing, you can see if you're over or under and what you need to look at to see maybe something didn't happen, and maybe you need to dive in and get more. Maybe you need to bill out revenue, or maybe you need to slow down on your expenses. Not sure what that looks like. So identifying pricing flaws, you can really see, and if your estimates were aligned with what really happened in the real world, you can flag those scope creeps, make sure that you're issuing those change orders, because that can happen, so that you can ultimately ensure that you're getting that 17% gross project margin instead of maybe a 5% gross project margin. You definitely want to bring that up. And then it just maintains a good, healthy cash flow and bill accuracy at every stage. So how can All Accounting support you? As we specialize in contractors, we can make sure that within your QuickBooks file, that you're really set up and have a process and have a system so that everything is flowing correctly. We're really big on standard operating procedures, SOPs, to help and guide you. Although we may not be in there every step of the way, we are here to help and ensure that things are tied off. So we work hand in hand with who's in the office maybe at your actual job site, and then us. So we review your chart of accounts, make sure your coding is all set up, make sure your products and services are how they should be, make sure that you have the correct QuickBooks file, subscription, and ensure that everything is mapping correctly. And when it's not mapping, we ensure that, hey, what does this need to go to? How can we tie this in so that we have that visibility into our financials? And then we don't just look at the past. We really want to create financial insight and help you bid smarter. So we're constantly looking at those job margins. We are looking at that work in progress reporting, ensuring that that's in line, ensuring that your change orders are there and you're not having all of expenses just go out the window and you're invoicing appropriately. And we also do, ongoing bookkeeping and cleanup, and can help with tax planning as well. We basically handle all the complexities of accounting so that you can handle the complexities of construction. So if you are ready to get some more information from your financials, you're like, I know I need to do some job costing, but I just don't know how, or I just don't have the time, or my books are a complete mess and I just need help. We are here to do that. We are happy to jump on a call with you. I don't see our normal information, but we will tag it in, of course, our profile, help@allaccountingllc.com. And that is it, my friends, for today. I will see you next week. Enjoy this sunny weather. I know I am. Have a great day.